Oh, hey guys, it's Spider-Man here.
Marvel Animation's new animated series, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, finds a winning formula in swapping out Peter Parker's mentor for what may as well be a stick of dynamite. Instead of Tony Stark taking Peter under his wing, it's now a different billionaire genius, but this one is definitely not a philanthropist. It's Norman Osborn. Yeah, the guy better known in the comics as the Green Goblin, Spider-Man's greatest nemesis. This bold, alternate reality spin on the MCU version of Spidey is what makes the show work so well. It's also the key ingredient, the sinister spice, if you will, that helps it stand out amongst the vast sea of other Spider-Man TV shows, games, movies, and comics. The way it ripples out and fundamentally alters Peter's canonical superhero journey makes for a fun and fresh story that also has a hint of danger.
So, you got a name, hero?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm Peter Parker. How about you?
Nice to meet you, Pete. I'm Nika Minoru.
Oh!
Okay, rude. I didn't name myself.
Funnily enough, Marvel has a different animated series called What If that explores alternate realities, but Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is not that show, despite it being the best what if concept in recent memory. The story takes place in a world that has a lot in common with the MCU, but with key differences that are fun to explore as the story unfolds. Even the origin story of how Peter's bitten by a radioactive spider is given a major overhaul, as it now bizarrely involves Doctor Strange pursuing a weird creature in a destructive brawl that tears across Midtown High School. The story starts there, but then jumps into the future 3 months, mercifully skipping the seen-it-a-million-times scenes of Peter discovering his powers, learning to swing on webs, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about.
Go Web, go!
We catch up on Peter's life, where he struggles with money, girls, and being a complete dork, all while trying to protect the city as a fledgling Spider-Man. It's not long before he's handpicked for an internship at Oscorp because he's a science whiz. And thus, his ominous yet wickedly entertaining partnership with Norman Osborn begins. The addition of a nefarious new mentor isn't the only new thing. Just about everything in the world of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a little bit different from the standard Spider-Man story. But it also embraces the core essentials that have been with the character since his inception. The animation style is inspired by classic Spider-Man comics drawn by legendary artists Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr., and it helps ground these new ideas in a sense of familiarity. It's actually astounding how the 3D cel-shaded animation captures the look and feel of classic 2D hand-drawn Spidey comics, to the point where it looks like Ditko and Romita art come to life. The action is slick and fast-paced, with the occasional neat use of comic paneling as a wink to the source material. And there's a lot of great physical humor too, thanks to this version of Peter being rather accident-prone.
You know me, clumsy Petey Parker.
The web-slinging sequences are full of wild acrobatics that give you a rush, although, if you will allow me a nerdy nitpick, Spidey does a lot of maneuvers that are a little advanced for someone who's only been on the job for 3 months. All that said, the animation is sometimes hampered by odd movements, and the backgrounds aren't exactly gorgeous works of art. It's definitely not on the same level as, say, Arcane, but most of the time the animation does its job and looks good doing it. Now let's talk about the characters that populate this world. Spidey's supporting cast is a major deviation from what we're used to. Absent are beloved mainstays like Mary Jane Watson, Gwen Stacy, and Flash Thompson, but they aren't really missed because a host of new faces with compelling stories goes a long way to help keep things interesting. We've seen Peter go through high school a million times by now, but not with folks quite like these. His best friend here is the quirky and sarcastic Nika Minoru, who Marvel fans will recognize from Runaways. Giving Peter a magical bestie is a cool counter to him being a science guy. Harry Osborn is essentially a whole different character this time around. He's still rich, but now he's portrayed as a naive, out-of-touch teenage social media sensation. A new face for many is Lonnie Lincoln, who fills the jock role usually occupied by Flash, but this high school football star turns out to be a kind, intelligent, and enthusiastic friend to Peter. By the way, if you do not want to be spoiled, do not look up Lonnie Lincoln's comic book history. You've been warned. Peter may be the same nerd he always was, but this time around, he's accepted by his peers and even celebrated by the meathead types who would have picked on him elsewhere in the multiverse.
Sup, penis, Parker?
Though it is nice to see a positive spin on Peter's social life, it does feel like something's missing. On Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter no longer seems to represent the little guy, the outcast, the bullied, the rejects who must find a way to persevere despite facing social challenges. Of all these teen characters, Lonnie turns out to be the surprise standout. Caught between pursuing his football dreams and reluctantly getting involved with a gang to help his family, his story mirrors Peter's in that he's also burdened by great responsibility. Lonnie's relationship with Peter is core to the story, and every tough choice they're forced to make has a sizable impact that builds and builds until it bursts. Lonnie's story feels especially grounded and includes real-world issues faced by young black men like him, such as racial profiling by police. Conversely, the traditionally white Osborns are depicted as black men in this show, yet they experience no such discrimination, perhaps because they are insulated by their vast wealth and high social status. This tinge of social consciousness is commendable to include in a series primarily about superheroes punching supervillains, as is the presence of an authentically diverse array of people shown populating New York City. The series is not as dedicated to a thorough explanation of discrimination as other action-adventure animated series such as Avatar: The Last Airbender, Static Shock, or The Dragon Prince, which leaves Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man feeling like it has the untapped potential to say something a little weightier. But what the show does have a lot to say about is responsibility, as one would expect from a Spider-Man show. What's most fascinating here is how Norman has his own version of Uncle Ben's iconic words about great power and great responsibility, tinted by the worldview of a powerful, domineering businessman.
With my help, you'll achieve greatness.
Watching a young Spider-Man develop under Osborn's amoral philosophy makes for some of Season 1's best moments, and it just underscores how it was such a great idea to put them together like this. It is awesome. The way the two lead characters are performed is outstanding. Voice actor Hudson Thames voiced Spider-Man in Marvel's What If animated series, and now he returns to the role of Spidey for this show. He gives Peter an appropriately high-pitched and scratchy adolescent voice that's not too far from Tom Holland's. He plays Peter with an ever-present earnestness befitting the character's big heart.
This is the first day of the rest of your life.
Now, for Norman, he's voiced by back-to-back Academy Award nominee Coleman Domingo, and his performance is the true highlight of the entire series. He gives Norman this strong and imposing tone that also has a deceptive amount of warmth and charm. It's almost enough to make you forget he's supposed to be the green freaking goblin. It's no wonder the young and impressionable Peter Parker accepts his offer to help him become a better hero. There is a devilishly delicious dramatic irony whenever the two interact. Anyone who's read a Spider-Man comic or seen a Spider-Man movie knows what evil Norman is capable of. He threw Gwen Stacy off a bridge, for Christ's sakes. But this Peter is none the wiser to any of that. There's a surprising amount of depth to this version of Norman, who isn't simply a cackling maniac, but a shrewd industrialist, a flawed father, and oddly enough, a surprisingly effective motivational speaker. He sees the sudden rise of superheroes in the world as a problem, and it's endlessly intriguing to watch how he tries to make Spider-Man the solution. Speaking of the larger world of superheroes, it's impressive how Season 1 includes many references to MCU continuity while still remaining squarely focused on Peter and his immediate circle. Even the handful of surprise superhero cameos don't distract from the story, but rather add to it in interesting ways. In terms of the MCU timeline, these events take place just after the events of Captain America: Civil War. What we learn about the state of the greater superhero world comes from discussions, debates, and headlines about the fallout of the Avengers clashing over the Sokovia Accords. And in case you need a refresher, the Sokovia Accords are the controversial laws that force all superheroes to register and submit to government oversight. To which Iron Man was cool with, but Captain America, not so much. There are multiple villains for Spider-Man to face throughout the story, and the series does a sublime job of building them up over time and positioning them as genuine threats. One baddie in particular never had his potential realized in the MCU, but is used to astounding effect here, to the point where I genuinely feared for Spidey's life. The character designs for the villains are very well done. Some go in a brand new direction, while others look ripped from the pages of an issue of Amazing Spider-Man in the back of my closet somewhere, but they are all winners. One particular familiar face, known for being a seriously evil master planner, even got a much welcome new layer to his personality and even a sense of humor. How about that?
Just consider it a good deed from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's me, by the way. I'm Spider-Man.
So to wrap things up, I think that your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is a marvelously good time. By swapping out Tony Stark as Peter Parker's mentor and replacing him with Norman Osborn, we are treated to 10 episodes of insidiously fun superhero TV. Given how it ends, it's clear Marvel has a lot of juicy and unexpected new ideas they're eager to explore in the already greenlit second and third season. This is a truly fresh take on Spider-Man filled with many delightful surprises, from fun cameos to shocking plot twists. The inclusion of real-world issues does give it an air of authenticity, although it's essentially window dressing for a fun action show with great characters. And while the animation has some distracting quirks, overall it works quite well. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has lively pacing, the writing is as sharp as a scorpion's tail, and it finds new ways to make you laugh and gasp every episode. For a character whose stories are as well tread as Spider-Man's, this is just what the Dr. Octopus ordered. For more TV reviews, check out the reviews of Squid Game Season 2 and Secret Level. Bye-bye.
Ah, nice of you to join us, Mr. Parker. See me after class.